Hello to everyone out there in the outer rim of YouTube. This is Hawklane, and welcome to my very first episode of Four Fridays. For every Friday, I'll be uploading a new Star Wars-related episode, whether it be a review of a graphic novel, a book, a new Star Wars product, one of the new movies when it comes out, or whatnot. And I'll get started right here with some of my first forays into the expanded universe. Now, I am something of a newbie as a Star Wars fan. I'm not new to the movies at all. I am someone who grew up with them in the 80s, watched them a million times, I had the toys and whatnot. But as far as the expanded universe, I'm still relatively new to the whole thing. And I thought that right now would be a pretty good time to get in on it with the whole everything else being decanonized and whatnot. And what I thought would be a pretty good place to start with this, since I am a comic book guy, is with some new comic books. In particular, the Lando miniseries that came out last year. And I got that in graphic novel form here. And I'll get to the basic plot of it. Lando is in debt to a criminal named Torin, and he and his partner Lobot, remember the guy from the Empire Strikes Back, are sort of trying to have their one last big score of sorts to settle their debt with this guy. And this is before Empire Strikes Back, obviously. And this is kind of a story about that score, and how it doesn't really play out as perfectly as they thought it would. It's kind of heist. It's something of a heist story, and of course, in any heist story, you have to have the crew. So it does get something of a small crew. He has his pair of panther-like, basically human panther-like warriors, that turned out to be lovers. Their names are Alexin and Pavel, and these are kind of these two silent, deadly badasses. And then there is what is the kind of equivalent of a professor, for these are something of a disgraced former professor in the Star Wars world, named Corin, who's something of an expert in antiquities, which is what the nature of the score turns out to be. Now it is originally thought to be just basically an abandoned ship, but there's something on board this ship that is actually extremely valuable to the Empire, and of course they're not going to let it get away that easily. And so this whole story is about that heist and about the Emperor getting involved. They don't want anyone else to have what's in there. If he can't have it, no one can. And it's a kind of a cool little side story. Nothing grand, nothing big and epic like the movie are, but it's sort of an insight into the world of Lando, shortly before he ran things on Cloud City and Empire. There's a few things that stood out to me about this. I think, first of all, that they landed sort of the voice and the style of Lando. Every time I heard him speak like Billy D. Williams, at least as far as my recollection of the movies. So I thought that was pretty cool. He's very much a smooth operator, very much lady killer. The one character that really stood out the most, I think, is actually Lobot, who I've never seen. Like I said, I'm not that exposed to the expanded universe, so all I've really seen of him is in Empire Strikes Back, where he doesn't really do a whole lot. I think that there was a kind of interesting reveal about him and he's very different. He's portrayed very differently, but there's a reason for that, and they get to that point. And I guess that's one of the main driving points of the story is how that happens. And he's initially portrayed very much as sort of a partner in crime with Lando, but very different from Lando. He's much more the realist. He's the one who sort of sets Lando straight a little bit about things. Because it makes sense, because it's that implant in his head gives him the ability to process probabilities, and it was originally meant for work on the battlefield, but he apparently left the Empire and he's working alongside Lando. He's the one who kind of keeps Lando grounded. Lando's a little bit by the seat of his pants, much like his old friend Han Solo. And Lobot's the one who kind of gives a bit of a reality check, but at the same time, he is a dedicated, loyal friend to Lando. He wants to make sure that everything is okay with him. He wants to make sure that that both of them really get out of this deal as quickly as possible, as safely as possible. And it's very kind of poignant at the end where it turns out that we see how he becomes the way he becomes in Empire. Other characters in they call there's a female bounty hunter that has a history with them that comes up. She's kind of cool with that. Not a lot, not as much to her as I kind of wanted to. I like the professor character. I like Corin. She's a female Ugnaught. She's very knowledgeable. She kind of came off as sort of the like a Maz Kanata type, a little. Well, that mean not doesn't have the wisdom of Maz Kanata, but they definitely felt a lot of Maz Kanata elements to her character. Overall, I thought it was a pretty decent story. Nothing spectacular, but I think it's a good way to tip my toe into the water of the new expanded universe. Starting with something that's fairly familiar. I think they got the I gotta speak about the art. The art was really good. The art was really, it looked sharp. Everything. One of the things I want in good comic book art is just the ability to be able to read the panel quickly and easily and understand what's going on. That was all there. But the whole thing that added an extra layer of atmosphere to it. There's a lot of good use of color. It was very cinematic. And I thought the whole thing, it obviously makes sense since it's based on the movie, but I thought the whole thing was very well laid out, and I thought the story was well done in general. Again, nothing spectacular, but a decent way to start off my foray to the Star Wars universe. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please comment below, or subscribe, or both. And if you do so, it will be a great help to this video and be a great help to my YouTube channel. Plus, you'll get a lot of my cool other stuff on this channel here and other different shows here on Everything Geek. So please like and subscribe. Until next time, this is Hawk Flame signing out.